No? Maybe? Hello? Okay. I wish this was a little bit longer. Is this good? Good? Is it too far away? Okay. Should I go get a Kiddush cup?
light that we try to gather from within our hearts. We move the Hula up. Set ourselves in motion in order to welcome Shabbat. We turn our series to page 130. Mafanav Bretona Bismirot Nari Page 131. Shir Adonai Shir Hadash Shir Adonai Kol Adonai Baruch Shemo Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato Sapru agoyim kevodo Bechol ha'amim niflaotav Yada lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai lai On page 132. Adonai melach tagel haaretz yismechu hihim rahavim or saru al tzadik ulishrei lehev simcha. A light is sung within the heart of the righteous, and simcha, joy, emerges from the search of righteous deeds, of a righteous path. Mizmor Shir Adonai, Shir Hadash, ki niflaot asa. In Shabbat, we take a moment to acknowledge and to celebrate the wonders, the niflaot of our routines, of our daily lives. And with that invitation is that we turn our Sidurim to page 134 as we try to transform this Friday night into an Erev Shabbat, into an evening of Shabbat. בכינור, בכינור, בכל שמלה. At the bottom of page 135. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. In the musics, in the melodies that we sing, we try to find a connection that help us uplift our hearts, our souls, and so enter this palace on time, this invitation to celebrate Shabbat, to welcome Shabbat, to become one with this experience of Shabbat. We turn our Siddurim to page 136 for Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid. To welcome the bride, beloved, come to welcome Shabbat. We'll now turn our Siddurim to page 138. Shabbat is compared with the bride with a majestic presence. And the beauty of Shabbat is that wherever you are, whether you are traveling, whether you are at home, Shabbat symbolizes a place, an ocean to which we always have access, an opportunity to connect with our souls and our hearts wherever we are. Shabbat means home, means coming home and finding our home in the world. And on page 138, Lechadodi. Lechadodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני פני שבת מקבלה, שמור ושחור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, להשם ולתפארת ולתהילה.
להדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת להובנלה, כי היא מקור הברכה, נמרוש מקדם נסוכה, סוף נעשה ונקשבתיה, להדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומיהורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
להדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
The sixth verse. לא תבושי ולא תיגעלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תאמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה היללתי לה. איי 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 איי
להדותי
פני שבת נקבלה. איי 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 פני שבת נקבלה.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוכך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. איי 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 איי
להדותי
לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. איי 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 לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. יאללה איי איי איי
We took a moment to greet the Sabbath, and I want to encourage us to take a moment to greet each other. And I get to use this line with Rabbi Nico because he's back. I get to encourage you to do something no rabbi does, to travel on Shabbat, to go meet someone who's new, who you haven't seen in a while, who sees them across the room. Go say hello and say Shabbat Shalom.
ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ay la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Shabbat shalom. I like your tattoo. Not that one. It's great. Oh, we don't have one there anymore. I can't see it. Just that one.
In the meantime, as we are coming back to our seats, we invite you to turn your Siddurim to page 140.
Mizmor Shir Mizmor Shir Shir Yom HaShabbat 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 Mizmor Shir Shir Yom HaShabbat.
We turn our page to 144 for our Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadav v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divrach yutei ve'amlich malchutei ve'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala ובזמן קריב ואמרו
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה תמיד רחמה ואמרו
We now turn our Siddurim to page 146. Please rise for Bahu as we turn toward Jerusalem, our eternal capital. Baruch et Adonai, Amevorach.
Amen.
turn our next page to our prayer Mariva Ravim, and at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I want to once again invite us to take a moment of the transitions. Notice the dark as we pray, God, who evenings the evening, Mariva Ravim, and notice the moment we're stepping into as a community, stepping out of our weekday experience with the changing of the light and the changing of the day, and adding perhaps a little bit of spice to our moment together. That kind of spice, exactly. And with that, we can say at the bottom, blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim.
Page 150. God, please never remove your love from us. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. And so we close our eyes and turn our Sidurim to page 152. As we ask to find within our hearts the space, the ability to listen and to feel one with the Creator of the universe, but most fundamentally, with our own souls. Before the Shema, I invite you to take one deep breath. To become one. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושופטך ופומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם
על מזוזות ביתך
ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן.
אמת בארגון הכל, שדה קיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. We continue with the silent reading over page 156. בולנו מיד מלאכים, מלכנו ולנו כף יונתים, עושה גדולות, אין חיקה ונפלאות. When your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. Who is like you, O God, mi chamocha, Ba'elim Adonai. We are on page 158. Mi chamocha, Ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha, נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, מלכותך, ראו בניך, בוקע ים, לפני משה ומרים, צלי, ענו ואמרו, Adonai yimloch leolam ba'ed. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Israel. Page 160. Ashkiveinu, the blessing, the prayer in which we seek to find eternal peace.
Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor tzedkeinu, uvoenu, lechaim u'shalom, ve'ata ve'Adonai. סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
שמרו בני ישראל את השבת. It is a covenant to keep Shabbat as a part of our lives, and to not for us to keep Shabbat, but to allow Shabbat to keep us, to protect us, protect our souls, to protect our spirits. And in Shabbat, recognize that Shabbat itself, as I was saying earlier, has its own soul. There's a soul that belongs to Shabbat. And says the tradition that there is an additional soul that accompanies us every single Shabbat of our existence. That in Shabbat, our existence worth twice. There is something stronger, that there is something more grounded, finding that connection. And with that strength, with that sense of groundedness, is that we celebrate Shabbat. And with that in our hearts, is that we turn our Sidurim to page 164 for Tfilat Amidah, the central prayer of our service, in which we ask to find our Tfilah Shevalev, the prayer of our heart. You can follow along the words of our Sidur, or alternatively, take a moment for personal prayer. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehillah. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Continue in silence. אתה קדוש ברוך הוא, קדוש ברוך הוא. The bottom of page 180. יהי לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני, צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. And we say together, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, באמרו אמן.
Take a moment in our service now to think of those in need of healing of body, of mind, of spirit, those suffering from malady or addiction. just go around the room, I want to invite you to say the name aloud of those you may be thinking of at this time. Also was thinking about Freda Masson, Gail Frankel, Scott Van Gundy, and Dave Stahl. Greg Erb, Margaret McGuan, Carol Rosenberg, Diane Siegel, and June Chapman. Batia Peters and Ron Victor. Rich DeBrigger, Sandra Goldberger, Elise Musin, Kevin and Denise Pringle. Avner Ben Aaron, Adam Murad, Ruth Murad. Judy Sutton, Nadia Fatinova, Bob Schill, Ellen Kaschik and David Tuttleman, Carl Burns, Richard Ravitch, Bernice Paris, Larry Johnson, Raina Lopez, Tracy Taub, Connor Aird, and Itzhak Ben Sasha.
For all those that are dealing with illness to find refuah shlema, refuat nefesh, refuat guf, complete recovery of body and soul. And we say, Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
It is so nice to be back home, even though we don't have floor in the office. And all of a sudden, I was told this afternoon when I was trying to reach the office and take my computer, I was told, you cannot cross this anymore. What do you mean I cannot cross this anymore? I need my computer. So, sorry. So it's nice to be home and to deal with problems that actually emerge at home. So it's really, really good to go. And it's even better to come back. For those that like traveling, you might know what I'm talking about. You are always looking for the next opportunity to go to discover a place, and then you want to come back home. It's good to have a place that you want to come back to. And we have a family vacation plan in Israel for a long time. It feels now a long time since today is the 92nd day of October for many Jews. So in the summer we plan a family vacation in Israel to get together for a celebration that we wanted to have. And we just decided that we weren't going to cancel our plans despite the war. We were going to adjust them a little bit, but we didn't cancel. And so even though it was a planned vacation, a trip to Israel at this time is a kind of different experience of what we usually have. I will share about that more in the next couple of weeks. But it was very powerful to be in Israel. It was very powerful to connect with the work that many remarkable people are doing, to connect with the pain that touches every single layer of the Israeli society in ways that are completely obvious and in ways that it's almost impossible to imagine. But every single person we met has been deeply affected and deeply touched by the events on October 7th and the aftermath of October 7th. So Rabbi Michael is now posting on Facebook and sharing with the congregation some of his experiences in the Arza trip, in the Reform Zionist Organization trip that took place also a couple of weeks ago. And I hope that you, as me, are reading that eagerly. And we will add some other experiences that I will be able to share firsthand in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. But one of the things that I do want to explore with you a little bit is this question of how you move from a place of absolute pain and repression to a place of liberation, a place in which you can move forward towards somewhere, right, in some direction. And symbolically, the book of Exodus that we're starting to read this week is a great way to explore that question. What's the name of the book of Exodus? I had a paper, here it is. Shemot, right? So what's the meaning of the word Exodus? Well, Exodus doesn't mean names, but Shemot means names, and Exodus means what? Exodus means what? To go out, to exit something, right? Is this idea of the motion from oppression to redemption, that great exit that we remind so often in our prayers. We think about the Exodus every single day. It's a part of our prayers every single day. And it is very symbolic that the book is not called Exodus in Hebrew, and rather Shemot. Now, the reason the book is called Shemot is because the book starts off by saying, Ele Shemot Bnei Israel, these are the names of the children of Israel that went down to the land of Egypt. And then there's an account of those names. And what we hear is that there's a group of 70 that came down. And Joseph that was already there. We hear those names. And then we hear that the children of Israel were very prosperous in the land of Israel. And for those that come to Torah study tomorrow, we'll talk about that a little bit. But all of a sudden, the mitzvah of pru verbu, the go be fruitful and multiply, that we are given at the beginning of the book of Genesis, becomes a fact in the book of Exodus. We say the children of Israel were becoming multiple. And it was great. They were very prosperous in the land of Egypt. But then we had a problem. The story introduces us to a new king, a new Pharaoh, that didn't know of Joseph. Joseph, that was a great figure in the scene of Egyptian politics or economy. This Pharaoh didn't know about him, and he got very, very concerned or anxious about these people that was doing so well and growing so fast within the Egyptian society. And so he decided to make their lives very bitter. Some of the phrases that appear there, really at the beginning of the book of Exodus, will translate later on in the Seder plate, one by one. So he decides to make the life of the Israelites very, very bitter. And what happens to the Israelites, to the children of Israel, as Pharaoh is so focused making their lives miserable? They keep growing. They grow and grow more. And the Torah says, the more he tried, the more they grew. And so he makes an executive decision. What does he say? What does he ask for? He asked the Hebrew midwives, who also have names. What are their names? Shifra and Pua, you're right. Shifra and Pua, he asked them that every time they see, and remember this word, every time they see a boy, a child, a male child, they should get rid of that child. And what does the Torah say about them? The Torah says about them that they what? They disobey. But what's the word that the Torah uses? How the description appears? The description says that they feared God. And how do we say fear of God in Hebrew? Irat Hashem, the word ira. So the Pharaoh says, when you see a child from Israel, a male child from Israel, get rid of that child. And then the Torah continues and says, but they were afraid more, and it's the same word, from God than from Pharaoh. Now, the word, let me give you the exact Hebrew. But Tiran amildot et Elohim. Tiran, Lirot, they were more afraid from God than from Pharaoh. Rabbi Salman explains the word ira, the word fear. He says, ira, is sometimes translated as fear, but neither completely captures the idea. The Hebrew root for ira is yud resh aleph. The root of words meaning sight or see is resh aleph hey. Ira, he explains, arises from the state of being seen for what we really are. He tells the story of a Sufi master in the 9th century who had almost 20 students, and each of them wanted to be his successor. And they were arguing among themselves and pressing him to make a decision, who is going to be your successor, master. So he said to them, you go out and each bring a live bird, and I will tell you what to do. So they went out, and each of them brought back a bird that was alive. And then he said, now I want you to go to a place where nobody can see you and kill the bird. Tells Rabbi Salman that 19 of them came back with a dead bird, but the bird of the 20th was still alive. So the master made an angry face. Why didn't you kill the bird? He asked. And the disciple said, Master, I wasn't able to find a place where nobody can see me. The awareness that we are being seen, that we do everything we do in the presence of a witness, is the true path for ira, for that idea of fear, or that bad translation of fear, says Rabbi Salman. We are talking, he says, about a seeing and a being seen that goes beyond a visual act. Fearing God means to make a conscious decision that we want to live our lives with a witness. It means to internalize a notion of accountability. It says very little about God, but it says a lot about how we want to live our lives. Now, the idea of seeing comes from lirot, means to see, right? How do you say to see in Latin? Spectacle, right? And which word sounds very, very similar to that word? Respect. Respect. Respecting someone, respecting something, is having the willingness to see that entity, to acknowledge that entity. And the Torah tells us later on, also at the beginning of the book of Exodus, what was the 9th plague? Plague number 9. Which one was? What? Darkness. In the context of the plague of darkness, that the worst thing that happened is that people weren't able to see each other. Now, to be in the situation in which we don't see each other is to be in a situation, and we are not talking about the physical seeing, is to be in a situation in which we don't acknowledge each other. And I want to make one more twist and then bring us back to the beginning of this Torah portion. I want to say that there is something worse than that, and it's losing the ability to see ourselves. That the worst expression of the plague of darkness, to which we will be introduced later on in the beginning of the book of Exodus, is losing the ability to see ourselves. Now, the Berditcher rabbi teaches us about the beginning of the time of Joseph in Egypt. And the Torah says at the beginning of this Torah portion that 70 were the children of Israel that came down to Egypt, and Joseph that was already there. The Berditcher rabbi says Joseph actually got an Egyptian name, but he never used that Egyptian name. He was never acknowledged by that Egyptian name. He never lost track of his identity. He never stopped seeing himself. And I think that the little thing that Joseph passed to the next generations was that ability to see themselves. And here's, I'll try to, I couldn't print this, so I'm kind of sharing my raw, not written thoughts. And here's the last idea that I want to share with you. How do we move from a place in which we are experiencing pain and being oppressed to a place of growth? I think that the Torah makes the suggestion that our names lead to the Exodus. That the idea of being able to recognize your name, of not giving up on your name, of remaining Joseph, of not forgetting your identity, of not forgetting where you're coming from, and sticking to your core is the key, ultimately, for the Exodus. And wait, I wrote this down, even though I couldn't access the computer. And the mitzvah, or the most beautiful mitzvah in the context of the Exodus that we are given, is the mitzvah of telling the story to our children, right? V'shinantam levanecha. We are supposed to tell this laws to our children. We say in the Shema, and in the context of the Yetziat Mitzrayim, of the Exodus from Egypt, we say, Ve'igata levincha. The Torah says, and you shall tell this story to your child. And the rabbis in the Talmud later on, how do they translate that? What are the words that they use? Bechol dor vador. Does it ring a bell? Bechol dor vador, chayav, Adam, and what's the word that comes there? Lirot et atmon, כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים. In every generation, every single person should see himself, herself, as if they themselves came out from the land of Egypt. And I want to retranslate the word see. And this time when I read it, what I heard was, in every single generation, every single person should respect, see himself, lirot et atzmo, respect himself, respect herself, as if they were survivors of the bitterness that Pharaoh tried to inflict on us. And maybe by seeing ourselves, by being able to recognize our real names, we'll be able to move from painful places to a place in which there is actually exodus, to a place where there is actually redemption. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue our service on page 587 with Aleinu Leshabeach. We will invite all those that are the age of 10 to join Rabbi Michael to open the ark.
10 or younger. Oh my goodness, a whole exodus of children. Shh, ready? Ready? Slow, 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 slow. Little more.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו, כי אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו At this point, we take a moment to acknowledge mourners among our congregation. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, please rise and share with us who you are remembering. If you are during the... Here you are. Your ex-husband and founder of this congregation of blessed memory. If you are during the first 30 days of mourning Shloshim, please rise and share with us who you are remembering. If you are during the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise. Barbara. If you have a yahrzeit this week, the anniversary of someone's passing by this time of the year in years past, please rise. The congregation offers its condolences to Jill Becker on the death of her ex-husband and to the entire community in the passing of our founding rabbi, Rabbi Jerry Levy. To Sarah Nolan in the passing of her mother, Judith Schwartz. To Nancy Small on the death of her mother, Sally Small. We are thinking of David Benke, father of Joe Benke, Steve Taub, Louis Dick, Sang Noyoung, David Pachetti, Diane Kalmis, Gary Bronstein, Ilya Rabinovich, Bonnie Epstein, Mahim Bahun Sinai, Guy Ilus, Mark Alan Grabs, Connie Shane, Rosemary McGuan, Stanley Rich, Stanford Sandy Bain, Jerry Levy, uncle of Sarah Ellman, Rosalie Verkowitz, Adrian Friedman, Clifford Tripp, Richardson, Eleanor Hill, Daniel Knipe, Sandra Koff, Generoso Benito, Marcel Cunningham, Madeleine Salzman, Kevin Scott, Robert Kilgore, Dahlia Schneider, Michael Pleiner, Joyce Levine, Shirley Israel, Thelma Turner, Marilyn Graven, Alan Fagin, Jonah Hanschel, Sharon Lowenbrown, Sheila Bamberger, Dr. Grace Dodge, Clarissa Glotzer, Stephen Bornstein, Richard Kennemer, Ethel Shanker, Barda Sadhi, Rabbi Tlalit Shavit, Jack Long, Virginia Larson, Miriam Morer, and Bob Sturman. For those who died at this season in years past, Alvin May, Anna Karnoff-Stein, Belle Kernoff, Bernard Mann, Bradley Silverman, Cecile Itzkovich, Chuck Robinstein, Irving Victor, Jacob Pipk, James Petrie, Cambis Joshua Simantov, Marty Jacobson, Maury Kern, father of Caroline Curling, Richard Klein, Sidney Baker, and Yona Talmor. Now you can support our fellows with your voices or your hearts while sitting or standing. Turn your study into page 598 for Mourners Kadesh, Kaddish Avelim. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ועלמא דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב באמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, לחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be always a blessing in your life. Yasichram Baruch. You may be seated.
announcements. Do we have our board representative for announcements here tonight? It's me.
It's
No,
Molly.
it's Molly.
It's Molly.
It wasn't announced to us, Molly.
Oh, it's me. Hi, Molly. I'm going to give you the microphone in just 1 second. I'm going to hold it.
I don't want to make a thing out of this, but Sheldon is here. So, you know,
Yeah, no
the
question.
two of you kind of executive board level.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Just going over a few of the highlights, a few announcements. But of course, as always, you can find all of this online on our website and the calendar on the website. Coming up tomorrow, January 6th at 9 a.m., we have the Shabbat Cafe in the foyer. At 9:30, we have Torah study, followed by the 10:30 a.m. Bar Mitzvah of Daniel Stahl. At 6 p.m., we have art and 6 p.m. tomorrow night. We have art and Havdalah, an opportunity to connect with art, Israel, and each other. There'll be a gallery, guided painting, on-canvas activity, nosh, and please register. If you're unable to register, please show up. Sunday, January 7th at 11 a.m., we have another lesson of transformative prayer with Rabbi Nico. Wednesday, January 10th, from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., we have the Friendly Visit Training with Linda Allen in the Cantor. We'll be holding a training at Shir Hadash for those who would like to fulfill the mitzvah of visiting the sick, and dinner will be provided. Please RSVP. By the way, I registered, so if anybody's like on the fence of maybe I shouldn't register, of course you should register so you can hang out with me. Okay. Right. And I lost my place. Okay. Thursday, January 11th, 11:30 a.m. We have an Ashim, remarkable women with Rabbi Nico. Please register for this, and lunch. Registration is required if you want to be fed, so register. And then Friday, January 12th at 5:30, we are back here to do Shabbat Square, although I'm not really sure what Shabbat Square is. I guess it's a new marketing thing.
I wore a sweater just in case.
I wore a sweater also, so, okay. And then back Sunday, January 14th, it's Mitzvah Day for the entire community of all ages to come out and support Mitzvah Day. Please sign up for your preferred volunteer shift and sign up Genius link. That's all on the website. Volunteers are needed. And Saturday, January 27th at 7 p.m. Which one is this? This is the choir. It's the choir concert service. Shalom La Shalom Sukkot V'Tafila, Song of Peace, Shelter, and Prayer. Enjoy community of choir music and a reception afterwards, sponsored by Gail Long. RSVP online. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So, no, I think it was great. So I'll circle back into things.
Pretty good.
So for the sake of those that are listening from home, and great opportunity to acknowledge them and to say Shabbat Shalom to all those that are connecting with us through social media. Caroline is saying now that it's not only visitors, it's also friendly callers. So that's an important clarification. So even if you are home and you cannot visit people, or that's not exactly how you feel at your best, you can make a call and you can learn about how to and what to with Cantor and Linda Allen in a few more days at Shir Hadash. I do want to circle back to two things that Molly mentioned. Number one, the activity tomorrow, the opportunity to do and join in doing some painting around the pictures that we purchased from Israeli artists. For those that are not familiar with the project, there were many Israeli artists that made drawings of the south of Israel before it was brutally destroyed. and they try to capture those images in these beautiful drawings, and we purchased several of them. And the idea is to have them in display at Shir Hadash for some time. Some congregants purchased also some drawings for us to have here. We printed them, so we have this canvas, and we're inviting people to participate in making some art inspired by that art. There are going to be 2 opportunities to do that, and that art will be accompanying us for a period of time. So we encourage you to join us and to participate. It's a great opportunity. What?
One more thing.
Give me 1 second about the Shabbat Square. And the second thing, the Shabbat Square. They say, which kind of, we weren't supposed to publicize that, but whatever. It is out there. So the Shabbat Square is how we call the strategic initiative around increasing our programs and our opportunities in Shabbat. We have been increasing gradually our activities and doing in Shabbat, flip-flop Shabbat, solar weather Shabbat, the Shabbat Cafe. All those things are working under a canopy, an umbrella called Shabbat Square. We couldn't figure out a name for the winter session, and we had lots of creative people participating. We had all kind of things like Shabbat in a mug, or Let It Shine Shabbat, and how to call the winter time Shabbat, and none of those names felt right, because I don't know, for several reasons it didn't feel right. So we might open some invitation to participate and to provide a name that will have also some action that will translate into how we are celebrating Shabbat during the winter, and maybe we call it something else than Shabbat Square, which refers to this idea that Shabbat is not a real square; it's like a central square. It's the idea of like the square, the central square of a town in which everybody comes to. So you had to, right? You had to. Yeah. Okay. So if Shir Hadash is our village, Shabbat is our square. Okay. So. Anyway, I'm glad that we are on the same page now. Next week, we're not going to have jet lag, and the printers are going to be working. And in the meantime, we are replacing the floor in the... And let's get rid of this concept. We don't have an administrative building. There's no such a thing. That's not what we do. We have an educational building. We have a community building. We might need to think about how we address that building, but it's certainly not an administrative building. We don't do administration. We do community, we do education, we do spirituality, we do social responsibility. One of those 4. So, and that's how we are supposed to refer also to our things. Do you want to add something before Kiddush?
I just wanted to add, because we wanted one more announcement. It was really, I got you. I want to add that just as it's a mitzvah to visit the sick, it's also a mitzvah to visit those in mourning with a cheery cord. And I want to just point out that this week is we remember a lot of members of our community who have passed, that there is info that's gone out for various shivas to visit those who are in mourning, to support and comfort those who are in mourning. Please check your email to join and to comfort those in our community. And with that.
Thank you, Rabbi. Page 122. If you're comfortable doing so, please rise for Kiddush. ויחול השמיים בארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי, מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. וכנסי סברי חבריי וחברותיי.
סברי חבריי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו בשבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Chaim, Shabbat Shalom. We want to conclude our service by not only blessing times and the source of joy or the sense of joy that we experience in Shabbat, but also by sharing blessings with each other. We invite you to stay close to your family, to bring your friends,
Your chosen family.
your chosen family, to make sure that you are not alone. Make sure that you are not alone, that someone is standing next to you. Blessings also travel beyond the walls of a synagogue. Blessings travel all the way to where our beloved ones are. I tell you more than that. I believe that blessings also travel from generation to generation. I believe that we keep receiving some of the blessings that were given to us by our dear ones, by our beloved ones. And so our blessings go back to them. So we say to our children, Asimchem Elohim, Ephraim Bekemenashe, may God inspire you to be like Ephraim and Menashe. Asimchem Elohim, Kesara, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, may God inspire you to be like the loving mothers of the house of Israel, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. We say to all of them, Yebrechechem Adonai, Beish Merechem, may God bless you and protect you. Yer Adonai panav elechem bichunekem. May God's light shine upon you and may God be gracious to you. Sa Adonai panav elechem. May you find within you God's presence always. And may you find within you the strength to recognize who you are, to recognize what's your name, what you are made of, the strength to move from painful places in life to places of expansion, to places of freedom, the strength and the courage to walk away from unhealthy spaces for you and to build a home for you in the world. May God give you its most precious, its most beautiful gift, the gift of Shalom. Be'asem lachem, be'asem lanu. May God give to all of us its peace. Shalom. Adonai os le'amavitem. May God give to its peoples the strength to be makers, to be builders of peace. Adonai yevarech. May God bless all of us with Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Mevorach Elivayir.
אבל ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. La 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 la. sabes,
Shabbat Shalom.
I confused the key.